started, and I think he's going to have a really good question to ask us in the beginning.
Wow.
To start it off.
Yeah.
Well, no pressure. I do want to say...
I started crying, and so no lie, like 5 years later, she's still like, Daddy, you're leaving, are you going to cry again? Leaving home is a lot easier when it's just the wife, because I get away from the wife for a couple of days, you know? It's not that bad. Fool that I see at my house all the time, saying snooch to the nooch and stuff, but then to be like, work with. So I don't know, it just gotta be a different perspective for you, I feel like.
Universe, Jason Mewes and Harley Quinn Smith. Anywhere you want. We have this whole lights.
Where's your home at?
Oh, my God.
All right. So I usually stand up and pace and stuff on the stage. This is a different setup. Table and stuff, so I can't really do that, I guess.
Like stand-up comic / battle rapper style?
Well, I mean, I'd like to think that, but I just like to move when I'm talking to everyone and stuff, so I might get up anyway.
I do have a wireless mic that I will pass you, pass it along.
More of these from. But you can start. So I usually don't, I was telling him in the back, but we'll stick to it. We haven't done a Q&A together, just us two, like everything.
No, never.
Yeah, but I usually don't use a moderator. I usually just say hello, and then I usually throw questions out. But I didn't know if Harley wanted one. So you're here now, and he's going to start it, and I think he's going to have a really good question to ask us in the beginning.
Wow.
To start it off.
Yeah.
Well, no pressure. I do want to say... Well, I want to say, first of all, congratulations, because you just had a new child.
Thank you. I wish we had a screen I could like put up pictures, but yeah, it was, the tough part about it, I feel like the first one too, the toughest part was this, leaving. You know what I mean? So me and the wife even were like, man, should we just cancel? The baby's only 2 weeks old, and it's hard for me. And she cried the first 2 nights ago, and then I cried last night. My kid always asks me, so when we did Reboot with the tour, I left for 35 days, and it was the first time leaving Logan years ago, but leaving her for so long. And I remember laying with her the night before I was getting on a plane to leave, and I started crying. And so no lie, 5 years later, she's still like, Daddy, you're leaving, are you gonna cry again?
She just wants to see you grow.
Yeah, it's crazy she remembers that from years ago. But it's amazing, I'm very excited. His name's Lucien Lee Mewes, her name's Logan Lee Mewes. Yeah. And so, and my wife's middle name's Lee, her mom's name, her grandma, so on and so forth. But, so that was the toughest part. I love covering these cons. I love doing the Q&As and being at the table and stuff. But yeah, that's the tough part is leaving home. It's a lot easier when it's just the wife, because I get away from the wife for a couple of days, you know? It's not that bad. I get it's 4 days.
And she gets away from you for a couple of days.
It's true, it's good for us, you know? 4 days is good. After 4 or 5 days, then I'm like, I miss you, baby. But yeah, so it's tough, but it's awesome. So yeah, and he's born February 12th. He was born. So. Dude, there's a fight in the fucking other room.
Watch this segue.
Well, listen, I always forget too. I curse a lot here, and there's always children in the audience. You know, and here comes more children in the back. And they just come in, and I'm like, oh, yeah. But anyway, I'm doing all the talking. I should probably shut up. So, do you want to start with a question?
No, I was going to say that's a nice segue into in the reboot playing father and daughter.
That was good.
Right?
I thought it was going to go anyway. That was a lot of fun. You know what? Honestly, I feel like I was just telling you in the back about Clerks 3 as well. I feel like Kevin, his writings, I enjoy his writing, for real, even not just because he's my friend. But I really find he's clever in the way he will tie the movies in and throw back to these things. And for him to like have Jay have a daughter, and then not only does Jay have a daughter, but it's Kevin's daughter, Harley, and then she gets to be part, and she was in the first one. And I mean, it's, again, it's all like, I guess people say meta or whatever, but it's, I find it to be clever, and it was a lot of fun, and yeah, it was enjoyable. Again, because we've known each other, I've known her forever, and so it made it easier. It really did make it easier. It made it easier for me to play the couple scenes that I had to get a little bit more serious than Stooge to the fucking nooch and, I'll fuck anything that moves and stuff. It was easier because like she would start crying, and because I would see Harley cry, not, the character, but I'm like, oh God, I'm crying, what did I do? And I really would feel that way for a minute, so it would make it easier for me to get a little, a little more sensitive and stuff. But it was fun, it was a lot of fun. I think just filming movies in general are fun. But definitely more so with Kevin because we've done so many together, and then you add Harley in the mix, just made it even sweeter. So, what is it like for you? I have a question. What is it like for you? I never really asked you this, but for real.
That was a good time.
No, but for real. What is it like for you, who's seen me around the house for years and forever, for your whole life, and then to like maybe see? Because I don't know if Dad showed you the movies before you started being part of the movies, and then was like, look at this fool that I see at my house all the time, saying Stooge to the nooch and stuff, but then to be like work with. So I don't know, it just gotta be a different perspective for you, I feel like, but I've never really chatted with you about that.
Well, now's the perfect time.
It is, right? So.
I thought I had such a great time working with you. It's awesome to get to see the people you love in a different kind of environment like a set, and getting to work with the people you love is just so special, and such a rare opportunity. So to get to work with somebody who's been in my life since the day I was born, and who has my name tattooed on him, and who I just love so much is so special, because we have so many memories between us, but now we got to work together and have those memories too.
Yeah, I forgot too that, again, I was thinking of the sweet parts, but I forgot too, the funny part is, even though Kevin will curse around her and stuff, so, even when she was a kid and stuff, I've always sort of tried to like watch what I say and, not being too dirty, like, oh, I'm gonna, lick that ass and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? I always try to be like real censored around her, around the house and around us in public and in normal life. So it was funny, like, when we were doing dialogue and doing the character, and I'm like, Stooge to the fucking news, saying all these things, and I was like, oh gosh. I forgot about that part too, which again was fun, but I'm just saying it took me a sec to really like, be like, all right, we're playing a character and she is older now anyway, but I don't know.
I thought it was very amusing.
Yeah.
I love seeing you. I have always been, you and my grandpa, are like two people who still are like, I can't say fuck, or I can't curse in front of you. It's goofy. I think it's adorable. Anyways.
Did you know, obviously growing up around, any family trade or business, it's like passes down the family restaurant or something. You've been around filmmaking, and your dad obviously writing, directing, so being so hyper involved in the stuff he's making. Did you always kind of know that you would work in similar fashion, and that you would act, and obviously you also do music and podcasts, and there's a lot of different things you're doing in that sort of sphere of making things that connect with people. Was that always just did it just feel in your DNA, or were there moments where you thought you might do something totally different?
Honestly, I would have loved if I was good at something else, but I've always felt like it was my purpose to be creative in different ways, and acting and writing and making music, and acting wasn't something that I fell in love with until my dad forced me to be in Tusk for a moment, and then I was like, oh my gosh, wait, what? This is like I don't know. It was very kismet, and it was just something that it was my friend's dad and my dad working together and throwing us into something, and I don't think it was something either of us were expecting to love so much, but I've always been in search of different creative outlets my whole life, and just kind of trying to figure out how I've always felt the need to express myself and get my creativity out, and getting to become a different person and fully dive into a character, especially after falling in love with acting and going to acting school for a while, and just really realizing this whole world of the craft of acting, and how helpful it was to me personally just to be able to kind of become these other people for a while. So it wasn't something I was expecting to, and I think it would be a lot easier if I was a lawyer or something like that, because I don't love being in the same field as my family, but I don't love being in the same field as my family, because it's just, I don't know, I'm always going to be compared to that in a way, so it's got a lot of different implications to it. It's really cool because we get to do stuff together, and that's such a rare, beautiful opportunity, but it also has a lot of implications, like kind of living up to something, but also trying to show the world who I am as my own person. So it's just complicated, I would say, but it's not something acting wasn't something I always knew I wanted to do. I've always wanted to make music, though.
Well, and you can also always point to, like, as tough as Sofia Coppola had doing Godfather 3, she then went on to make some of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, no, totally, and I just kind of, again, like working with my family is such an insanely special thing that I get to do, but it's super, super important to me to prove to myself and to everybody why I'm here and do my own stuff and make my own stuff. So yeah, I just can't wait to get my own stuff out into the world too.
Well, as I said to Griffin Taylor, who sings in a band called Dead Dead, his dad is Corey Taylor, who's in a band called Slipknot. I said, dude, once upon a time, Miley Cyrus was just Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter.
True.
You know, it's like there's...
Yes, yeah. It's not awesome being like somebody's daughter. Like, you know, you want to be seen, you want the first thing, you want people to see you as your own person, not somebody's daughter necessarily. So yeah, just, you know, working to the point when one day I'm my own person.
And we know from all of these great films that we have loved, that are in our DNA, so much of the language and the pop culture, things that we see in movies now that are so commonplace, that really the Mewes universe was doing first Stan Lee cameo, for example. We know, about a lot of the stuff that shapes Jay and your dad. What were the movies that really shaped you and really connected with you growing up and made you want to tell stories and the music and the art and stuff? That, like, what are your reference points and things that you fell in love with?
The first movie that I watched that I was like, oh wow, this would be so fun to make, was Super 8 by J.J. Abrams. That film, like seeing the kids in that film and being like, oh my god, I'm these kids' age and they're making this amazing like sci-fi movie, and it seems so fun, and that was and still is one of my favorite movies. Besides that, the first movie I really fell in love with was the animated Alice in Wonderland, and just the different stories within Alice in Wonderland and the beautiful world that it was, and that tone and everything about that movie just has always really inspired me and still does.
Awesome. And then music.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of your musical loves.
My musical loves, well, my first and foremost, my biggest musical love and muse in this life is Courtney Love and Hole. She has been my biggest inspiration, and I just admire so many different things about her. I know she has not a bad rap to some, but I just think she was so revolutionary for grunge and for women in grunge and women in music and in fashion and just in being a really badass fucking human. But besides that, I've been listening to a lot of metal lately, and that's kind of been influencing my music. Yes, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Danzig. I've been listening to a lot of that.
Danzig.
Oh, nice! Yeah, I've been working on some new music, and I've been finding a lot of inspiration in metal. And yeah, but besides that, I mean, like Pixies, Cedar Kinney, Sonic Youth,
So things that are awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I think so.
Yeah. So there was an article that came out yesterday in Rolling Stone. It was like the 40 greatest fictional songs, or songs from fictional bands, and had like Spinal Tap and stuff in there. And I immediately put my voice into the echo chamber emptiness of Twitter to complain. Didn't have fucking Berserker on. That's the best song from a fictional band.
I agree. I don't know where he is. I mean, I think Kevin looked for him to be in some of the other movies and he disappeared. Because I would like to hear him sing a whole song, right? Like, be like, my love for you.
Yeah!
So, guys, don't leave. It's going to get so much better, I promise. You want to open it up for other people? You're hogging the stage, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Great question, dog. I'm really impressed with you. I am.
We're deeply entrenched in Generation X, so it's like
I like it.
the lineup of guests here.
You're beautiful.
We do have this roving microphone that I can start bringing around. If we have questions out here,
I think we can hear it,
we're
right?
going. Or
I don't want you to.
yeah, sir. I love that.
I want you to
We can hear
relax.
you. You can hear it last time.
You right here. You want to ask something, sir?
Sorry, I have the hiccups, so just bear in mind. A few months back, Kevin was talking about the future movies he wants to make. And he had brought up that, Harley played your daughter.
Yeah.
And eventually he wants Logan to play his daughter. And a future chance, I wanted to know your take on that, because we heard Kevin.
Yeah. I mean, I would be down. Kevin feels like if we ever did another Jay and Bob, right? It would be Harley. Logan would play Harley's daughter, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Many years later, and I would be the grandfather. Right? So that would be 10 years from now. Logan will be 18 about 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And then she could play, like, it would be like, where is my daughter and where's Jay and Bob and stuff 10 years from now. So that, that's something he wants to say, because I know next he keeps saying he wants to maybe do Moose Jaws, then he was maybe wanting to do Mallrats too.
Yeah.
And then he's saying, if we do another Jay and Bob ever, it would probably be, reboots. I don't know what it'd be called, but again. But yeah, I mean, I'd be down. I think Logan, it's funny because Logan at her age and this right now, her bug is she's like, Dad, I want to do YouTube videos. She loves watching. Yeah, she wants to do, but she gets nervous. I'm like, hey, here's the camera. Let's do it. She watched this art girl named Mariah Elizabeth. She loves her. And like for Christmas, all she wanted was all Mariah Elizabeth stuff. She takes plushies and purchases them, and she's a mom. It's great. I don't mind watching her. The problem is like it'll go from like this sweet Mariah Elizabeth mom doing art to like cutting to like this other like younger person who's playing games at Minecraft who'll be like, over there he's fucking this and this and that.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the problem. So we gotta watch, but she wants to do. She used to watch Ryan's toy review, and then he's a kid now. I don't want to watch him. He's a kid. But she watches this other family, they're ninja, like they do the ninja games or whatever. It's like a family who does like the American Ninja competitions in their backyard. It's really awesome, actually. I find myself watching it too. They'll play Among Us live Among Us in their yard, but their yard's humongous. They must live in like Utah and the friggin' or somewhere is like with all this property, and they like built their own course. It's got trampolines and like bars to swing from and stuff. And there's like 4 kids and the parents, and they just make these videos and they get like millions of views. It's crazy. If you look up YouTubers, man, they make it's insane. It really is. Ryan Torrey Review made like $28 million last year. Man. Sign me up, motherfuckers. But anyway, my kid wants to do YouTube. It's funny. She's like, I want to do movies or I want to be on TV. She's like, I want to do YouTube videos.
I like that.
Yeah, it's so funny because she's like a whole different thing. So I told her I'm renovating my garage in a few months. And it's gonna make it my streaming room. If you guys don't know, follow me on Twitch, Mewes. I stream on Twitch, but I want to set up the garage and have like it set up so we can do YouTube videos. And we're gonna try to figure out a good fun thing I could do that's children friendly. But yeah.
Take her to Disney. My YouTube niche is like Disneyland vlogger. So
I never watched. So like, hey, here we are at the Disney train castle. Yeah. And then do they follow the cameras? Them on the coaster, like, oh gosh, here we go.
Yes.
Dude, she would love it. She'd love it. It would work.
I'll take her and I'll make a vlog.
That would work. I'm telling you, it could be like Kevin would probably come up with something more clever, but it could be like Jay and Bob. It could be the reboot prequel, like before we hit the actual movie of her being over. It could be you doing videos with her, and then we'd have all that footage. I don't know. Right here, we're thinking about it. Copyright Jason needs something.
I'm just trying to make a vlog with my niece.
That would be fun. She would love it though. So we gotta do it. She wants to go to Universal she watched Harry Potter. She really likes Harry Potter movies now, and she wants to go to the Harry Potter rides at Universal.
We should go.
Yeah, we got it for her birthday, so you're coming.
Really?
Yeah. You guys are all invited. Yes, you pay. It'll be fun. But yes, I believe again, he joked about it, but I feel like it's not possible. In 10 years, if everything is in good shape and standing, I feel like he might write a script that has that premise in it. So we'll see. Anyone else? Questions? You, sir, and then we'll go in the back.
What was your favorite or most challenging non-J role that you played?
Challenging. I wouldn't say challenging. You know what was challenging? It was is the movie I directed, Madness in the Method.
Yes,
Thank you. But it's mainly because I was trying to direct for the first time ever and play Jay. Not Jay Mewes, more of a multiverse, like Earth 19 Jason Mewes. That was my idea when we did the movie. Because it wasn't really me, but it was a sort of me. But it was tough because I really wanted to be like, oh man, let's block this scene out. We're gonna have the camera come in and swipe in, it's gonna close up, push up on Brian O'Halloran's face and blah, blah. But then we'd be setting up the blocking and then I'd be like, all right, I think this is gonna work. And then I'd have to run and do hair and makeup and change my clothes and make sure I memorized all this dialogue and all this stuff. So again, it wasn't the Jay character as Jason Mewes, but I would say playing Jason Mewes was the most challenging movie that I did. But yeah, I would say, because again, I've done all these other roles, it was awesome. I got to be in a movie, Twisted movie. It was, I can't believe that, think of the name of it. What is the name? So one of you guys got it down, because we're here in this, what is it? What's the movie that Twisted did? I see people. Big Money Russell. Thank you, sir. I got to play a cowboy, which was awesome. It was awesome, and I got to play a cowboy and do some scenes with some of the guys. And I was like, oh crap! And they put squids on me and stuff. It was so much fun, man. We got to go to this little you know, in LA there was a, you know, old school, like, cowboy town or whatever you call it. They had saloons and all this stuff. It was a blast. It was a blast. But yeah, I would say, I mean, a lot of other stuff like Feast, I mean, in a quick scene. I did this other indie movie. Yeah, I want to say, I honestly do feel it was me playing myself, and not so much because I'm like, oh my gosh, playing Jason Mewes was hard. It was me trying to memorize the dialogue and direct. And like, we also did some of it in LA, then we did it in London. But it was awesome. We got to meet, Stan Lee was in it. It was really sweet to see when I reached out to people. We didn't have a lot of money. And Terry Hatcher was in it, Dean King, and all these people reached out to us like, hey, would you be part of this movie? And they were like, oh, Jay Mewes is directing his first movie. We want to be part of that. So they all jumped on board. So, but yeah, thank you. But yeah, so I would say that. But thanks, that was a good question.
I was going to ask you about the movie.
This way.
Madison Method.
Yes.
I know how you got Harley and Kevin, but you got good stories on how you got Terry Hatcher or Vinny or Gina.
Yeah, no, there was no great stories except we really just reached out to all these people, and it was really sweet that a lot of them, like, you know, I knew Gene a little bit. I don't want to say I know him like we're buddies, but I ran into him and you know, chatted with him a little bit at some of the conventions and stuff. But we just reached out to their agents, and they reached out to the agents, asked them, and Stan Lee, at that time he had a handler named Max. I had his number, so I called Max and hey Max, I really don't want to bug, I doubt he has the time, but is there any way Stan would come, you know, be part of my movie? You know, he always asks Kevin to be in his movies. When are you going to put me in the next movie? He was in Mallrats, of course, but he's always like, when are you going to write me in the movie again? He was always asking Kevin. So I said, yeah, it was really sweet. So I was like, look, Kevin's not asking, I'm asking. And it's not as cool as Kevin's movies, but will he be in my movie? And he came down, it was so sweet. You know, he's like, I could be there at 3 o'clock. And it was, again, it was just really, most people just, you know, were really sweet about just being like, wow, Jay Mewes is directing his first movie. This, you know, the characters are funny and stuff. We get to play, and some of the people get to play themselves, and they thought it was fun. And yeah, so. But I wish I said, you know, funny story I do have to say is Vinny Jones. We met him down at this country club, right? And I didn't know what to expect. And we met him like, it's almost like he like ran the place. It all seemed like no one was really there. It was like early, pretty early. And we met him there, and like someone brought us into this ballroom, like not ballroom, but like this room with like a fireplace and there's a table set up. And we sat down and we're waiting on him, and he comes in and he's in golf clothes. So he was about to go golfing at this country club, and he sat there and he's like, so what's up? And we're like, hey man, you know, we're gonna be shooting these days and this days, and we really like to be part of it. And he's like, all right. He's like, all right, send me the stuff, talk to my peoples, and this, and then he's like, I gotta go and meet my friends for fucking golf. Which I just thought was funny, because whenever you see him in movies, he's always a badass. And he had these like little like golfing clothes on, and he's going golfing. But yeah, it was awesome. It was sweet that he was part of it. Danny Trejo, you know, Danny and I are good friends, so he was, it was really sweet. He was part of it, and Casper Van Dien, everyone else. So yeah, it was good. It was very nice. All people just being very sweet, being part of the movies. Yes, young man. Yes, you.
For either of you, your favorite Stan Lee memory.
Aww.
Favorite Stan Lee memory? I would say him just coming down, and just the memory of him coming and being like coming down and sitting there, and I'm like, hey man, we're gonna rush, we're gonna get you through this thing, and I was already nervous. This is my first directing job, and me directing and being in charge and all that stuff, and I didn't want to like upset him or disappoint him for him coming down to be part of this. And he just sat there, he's like, no problem. He's like, it was really sweet. All his request was, he's like, I have to be out of here by 5 o'clock, so I need to get home and have dinner with my wife by 6. I cannot miss dinner with my wife. Because I guess his thing was him and his wife had dinner every night at 6. He never missed it. And I thought that was really sweet. So, but that's one of my favorite memories, man. Every time I see him, I swear we did mall rats with him, and all the years we saw at cons, and we did the Audi commercial together, and I sat on a couple of planes with him because we'd be at cons and we'd fly home together. And every time I hear him talk, man, it just like seriously like gave me melted my heart because I just remember, such a big fan of his from a kid all the way up. So I don't know if Harley's memories are still.
But the last time that I saw him was at San Diego Comic-Con, and that's my only memory of him, like, as an adult, or that I can kind of remember. He was just the kindest man, just as you would imagine him to be, and just such an amazing soul, and I felt so honored to spend a few minutes with him.
It is, every time I think, man, it's crazy for me to think he created some like a character like Spider-Man. Like that literally everyone in the world probably knows, you know what I mean? And it's like, how crazy this man sat down and was like Peter Parker, a teenage boy, and like literally like there's shirts and there's movies and it's still to this day, like everyone knows, and that blows me away, so.
I have a real quick state of the anecdote.
Yeah, please tell us.
Just talk about somebody who's exactly who you want them to be. My interaction was super brief, but literally 20 years ago, I just moved from Indiana, where I grew up, to California, and I was a reporter for MTV News. And in our office in Santa Monica, you don't see anything. No one's in Santa Monica. There's nothing happening. And one day, I'm just sitting at my desk, and this is like, pre-Marvel Studios, and I mean, we're talking like Mallrats, maybe like Ben Affleck, Daredevil, I think came out that year, Blade. But anyway, I grew up a huge comic nerd, and I was sitting at my desk, and I look out my window one day, and Stan Lee walks by my fucking window. There's Stan Lee, he's with like two other guys who look like they're about his age, and he just walks by my window, and so I just instinctively like leapt out of my chair, ran outside, chased them down to the crosswalk. They're about to cross the street. It used to be MGM, used to be across the street. That's where I assumed they were going, I don't know. But it was that thing where, like, when I caught up to them, I was like, wait, I have no idea what I'm going to do, or I just chased this elderly gentleman down the street. And so they all three kind of turned to look at me, and I just looked at him, and I just said, I just want to say thank you. And he just looked at me, like, so super calm, and he just goes, you're welcome. It's like that would give me goosebumps now. Like he knew exactly what I meant. You know what I mean? It's like there was no, I didn't need to say anything else. And he just knew, and he just like, yeah.
So wait, so you worked at MTV for a while?
Once upon a time, they used to show music videos.
Yeah.
And then you get a job there, and you find out that your boss can't name all four Beatles. So there were good things too.
More than
you find out you're working for people that can't name all four Beatles.
Oh, they can't name all.
I did not know you guys.
I didn't know what you meant. I think you said that he nailed all four.
So did I.
Across the universe.
That's impressive.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
When you first played Jay, were there people that other actors that you drew inspiration from? Or was that just you taking your teenage you and just putting that all out into beat?
Well, yes, it was just me playing myself, but it was because of Kevin. Like Kevin always said, again, coming from his mouth is of course better, but he always says that he thought I was funny and I had this weird sense of humor. And he didn't know if it was just him, Walter, and Brian. I don't know if you guys know from Comic Book Man, Walter and Brian, right? Tell him Steve Dave and stuff. So Walt, Brian, and him hung out all the time, and I started hanging out with them, and they always thought I had this weird sense of humor, and they didn't know if it was just the three of them had weird senses of humor, and they thought mine was weird, and that's why they thought I was funny, or was it a Jersey thing? And he said that he wondered if other people would find it funny. And so he started writing down things I said and did and all this stuff when he was writing the script that he was writing. and he said he wanted to see if other people would find that character funny. So Jay in Clerks, the first Clerks, was me from 13 to like 17 when we started shooting. All the things, not all the things, but a lot of things I would say, do, and how I acted, exactly that's what I was like. I never sold weed, but that gave us sort of a reason to be outside, but I smoked a lot of weed then, and I would run around saying snitchy blue cheese and yell things and pull my ball bag out and weird stuff. So Kevin sort of took a young Mewes and did what you said, like sort of took all this stuff and put it into a character. And the reason Silent Bob is there is because he says that he felt like Jay didn't really need someone to interact with dialogue, like, you know, like, hey, Silent Bob, and him be like, hey, Jay, we should do this. And I'm like, yeah, we should. It's like he wanted me to say and do all this stuff, but he didn't want me to just talk to the air and people would be like, oh, this guy's talking to himself, he's crazy. So he wanted someone to stand next to me so I could talk to them. And that's why, and he also wanted to be in the movie, but not have to memorize a bunch of dialogue, because he was going to be Dante. But he thought, I can't memorize all this dialogue. And then also when Brian came in, he said, Brian's perfect for Dante. And so he said, but I still want to be in the movie and not have to memorize dialogue. So he said, I'll be Silent Bob and stand next to Jay. So.
I would like to see a version where you just talk to the air.
We moved in, I'm like,
It's like that
he's like MacGyver and shit. Just a chicken wire and knock it off. And nobody.
I would love to see it. I would hate to see it.
Have you ever seen where somebody took all the Garfield comic strips and removed Garfield from them, so it's just the guy that lives in Garfield? That's called Garfield minus Garfield. I think it's Garfield minus Garfield. It's amazing.
It's good.
Now he's just a crazy guy.
I love it. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do that.
I want to see that.
So this gentleman behind you and then you, but you've been raising your hand.
I got a question for Harley. What was it like doing the filming of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? How you got the part, how you got directed by Quentin, how did you feel like knowing that you got it, and how was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously crazy. That was one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. It was really interesting because I got the audition for it, and it was a really, I had never had an opportunity, like to audition for Quentin Tarentino, but also the way that the audition was, there was a scene that was provided that you had to come, usually like you'll just get the script and the sides, which is like the lines you're reading, the scene you're doing, emailed to you and whatever, but for this you had to go into their office, sign an NDA, and then they handed you one copy of the scene, and they wouldn't email it. And so I did that, and when I got to the casting office, they said, you have an option either to do this scene, or you can write a monologue and do that, or you can do both. And I was like, fuck it, I'm for sure doing both. And so I had like a week to prepare, and I wrote this monologue from the perspective of a Manson girl, and I came in and did the scene. I was really, you never really get to like perform your own writing for casting, so that was just a really cool opportunity in itself. And then I did not hear anything for like 3 months, so I definitely let the ship sail. And then out of nowhere, I found out that Quentin wanted to find a place for me in the movie, and that he had really liked my audition, which was insane to me. And so yeah, he made me a Manson girl, and it was such a fucking awesome experience. I mean, to work with someone you admire so much and to get to see them work up close and see them do their thing and learn from them. I worked on the movie for like a little over a month. which is crazy because I'm such a small part in it, but like the whole movie was months and months to shoot. And you, every day when you got to work, you checked your phone in, which was really cool because it created this really like magical environment where it really did feel like we were in the late 60s, 70s, and you were just fully immersed in it. And we were on the ranch, and just like all of it, they created the whole ranch, so it felt like we were really there, and like we were maybe there during that time, and it allowed like everybody to get really close, and I made some best friends on that movie, and it was such an amazing experience that I'll never forget.
That is awesome that like people, otherwise if everyone had their phone, they'd probably be like, oh, well, we should just listen to my
Yeah, no, exactly.
Wasn't that? That's cool. That's really cool.
And it's like obviously, so we can't take pictures or anything, but it also just creates such a cool environment, because usually like when a director says cut, a lot of actors will be like, okay, and like go like fuck off and go on their phone or something. So it really like it was a really beautiful opportunity just to really connect with people and be forced to connect with people almost, and it was just so cool. Like when a film was finished, like a cocktail cart would come out and everybody would drink and like stuff like that. So just like insane things like that don't ever happen happened on his set, and it was just so fucking cool to get to watch him work and see how he does what he does.
So that was you, right? You asked. Thank you. And now your turn, sir.
Okay. Shannon Elizabeth was here 2 Astronomicons ago, and I just want to curious how you guys' relationship come over in the last few years.
I don't talk to her really, except it's like that. I feel like with a lot of people we've worked with on the movies, even Brian and Jeff, honestly, until recently with the cons and stuff, I've been able to see them a lot more. But even Ethan simply, like, I was just talking to Ethan because when we did Mallrats, we came out to LA a bunch after for like, there was a party and then there was the premiere and all this stuff. And every time I'd come out to LA, Ethan would like pick me up and we'd hang out and stuff. And I got to really spend a lot of time with Ethan after we did Mallrats for a few years after. And again, I still run into him and see him sometimes at different things. But I just feel like it's a lot of that. Like I don't really, Shannon too, like I hadn't seen her for years. And then I saw her at a convention, and then we saw her on Reboot and stuff like that. But again, the cool thing is everyone, honestly, on the movies that we've all done, all the Kevin's movies, I feel like it's been pleasant, and it like either we had a lot of fun, or I didn't really get to like what's her name? Sorry, I can't really think of her name. Zach and Mary make a porno.
Elizabeth
Banks.
Everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Elizabeth Banks. Like I did not get along with her, but I didn't really talk to her. She was someone who would come do our scenes, and then she would leave, and then go to her thing, and I wouldn't see her. So like I didn't really get to know her, but not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like I feel like either like Ali Larder and Eliza Dushku always hang out on set, and chill in between takes, and have like I had a blast with them, and they're a lot of fun. And so again, but I wouldn't say anyone I know. Like I would never give anyone the wrong idea. Like I'm like, yeah, me and Elizabeth, man, we chat all the time. I just eat dinner at her house.
She also lives in Africa. So.
She does.
She's really out there.
Yeah,
she's so fucking awesome.
I'm surprised she was here too.
Yeah. She does
She has
amazing
a
work.
thing, right?
Yeah, she does amazing work in the animal rights space, and is fighting against poaching elephants.
True.
and
I remember her
rhinos.
telling us that. On
She's
Reboot.
really, really amazing.
Yeah, so cool things like that, but again, I don't really get to chat with them. But again, the cool thing is every time I feel like I see her or see anyone that we've worked with multiple times on the movies, always it's like, oh my gosh, how you been? And always super nice and sweet, and it's been great. Again, I really do, no lie, like I enjoy working on Kevin's movie so much because I feel like we've always you know, he always has the same people, and then there's always new people, and everyone just seems to really be pleasant and have fun, and the environment from everyone just sort of keeps it fun and calm and chill. Like ideally, I always joke with Kevin. I feel like my ideal, career right now and so on would be to do one movie with Kevin every year, and then in the free time be like really big on Twitch. Like I love streaming so much, but like I can't afford to just stream because you know you need a lot of people to be subscribing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it so much is my point. But if I could do that only as a job, I would do that in like one movie or whenever Kevin did a movie. I would do it because I have so much fun and I actually enjoy, like, I know sometimes, like, I don't feel like I enjoy acting, but I'm not an actor who's like, man, I need to do this because I really want to challenge myself. Or, you know, I hear a lot of times you see people on a TV show and they'll disappear and you'll read up, like, why did they leave the show? It's after season 2, and they'll be like, oh, I needed to challenge myself and do something else. Doing 3 seasons of Hawaii Five-0 wasn't enough, or whatever. Where I'm like, no, fucking sign me up. I'll want to be fucking, what's her name from SVU, dude. Give me 20 seasons of fucking Law and Order. I would have fun with that, you know. But, and I'm not saying anything bad about that. I know people like some people with their acting is like, to be or not to be, that is, you know. But I just enjoy doing movies with Kevin and other people.
Yeah.
But that would be enough for me is my point. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Oh no.
Where are we at on time, Daddy?
Well,
Daddy.
you got about 10 minutes.
Okay. You and then you. We'll go you.
I was curious, like, you know, I feel like I've grown up watching you. Is there any fans that, like, I just want both your stories. Anybody who went over, like, some fan that, like, actually Dutch runner or, like,
all the time.
You know they have.
People ask me to Dutch run them all the time, and that's the truth. Have I ever Dutch run them? No. No, you know what? I do feel, I don't know, I feel like a lot, people approach us a lot, but I would hope it's because I give the vibe of being approachable. Kevin's more so than me even. Because I find myself sometimes, honestly, we'll be at the airport, and I'm a little grouchy. Yeah, at the airport, I'm not a nice person. And not on purpose. I'm not like, I'm going to be, but I get so much anxiety from flying, even though I do it all the time. But like worrying about the flight being delayed or canceled or being stuck in the airport and all this stuff. Different reasons why, sometimes I've walked off like 3 planes because I start to trip myself out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm inside of a bubble. I can't take this, you know, like, and that only happens sometimes because I fly constantly. But my point is sometimes I get off a plane and like I'll come off the runway and I'm like, thank goodness I'm off the plane. And someone's like, hey, can you stop my shit? And I'm like, sure. And then all of a sudden I'll have 30 things and I'm like, sir, I don't want to. Anyway, but my point is you know, people ask me the Dutch runner, they say snoosh, but I don't mind. Honestly, it's like, again, I would be bummed if no one ever asked me to do stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, again, nothing too crazy. I mean, luckily I've never had anyone like sit outside of my house and like flash their boobs and like, you're my fucking husband, damn it. Say it's true, you know. No, but yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes I think if I'm eating and I'm with my family and someone comes up and I don't want to say that's too far, but I do find it to be like, just give me 5 minutes, Daddy. But yeah, but overall, everyone's pretty, has been okay.
I think there's time for 1 or 2 more questions.
Oh yeah, I did say this.
Kind of a
12 inches. No, yeah.
It's harder for Harley and kind of time together.
Yeah, great. And on you.
There's a real emotional scene in Reboot in the van, really emotional scene, kind of shooting that and where you had to go. And then I think you talked before how Kevin had written the character one way, you were playing it a different way. You had to talk to him about that and kind of meet in the middle. You can just get more into that. So.
Yeah, I'll go in order. The scene in the van, that was probably my favorite scene in the film. I am one of the actors that Jay was making fun of, who likes to really go deep and stuff. I act the way that I act involves like completely stripping myself from it. I find it. The way that I learned
make fun.
Yeah,
I just said that I was making fun of myself, saying I'm not that
a
type.
little Shakespeare moment, but okay. I've only done one Shakespeare play and I hated it. But for me, it's really important to dive into a character completely separately from myself and to create a backstory and to be coming at it completely from the point of view of the character and not bring myself into it at all. So for that, I mean, that really just involved for me figuring out Millie's backstory. I mean, like going over Millie's backstory, obviously, like the pain that she has from not knowing why her dad wasn't in her life or where he's been all these years. So just really treating that like really feeling that as Millie's trauma and coming from that place of what it would be like to not know who my dad was for that long. And then, yeah, my dad wanted me to do it more of the tone in which, I was going to say they speak, but I guess my dad doesn't speak, so I guess everybody else kind of just, he just always would tell me, like, make it bigger, and I was like, no, if that's what you want, then I'm going to go, because I can't, that's not how I'm not going to do that. And we did fight on it for a minute, but it was just important. I mean, yeah, it's important for me to always ground all the characters that I play, like no matter how much of a caricature they are or whatever, and I don't think Millie is that, but just in any role, it's important for me to ground it, and I always saw Millie as very just like strong and badass and not big, just grounded. And so yeah, my dad did fight me on that for a while, but he does admit now that I was right, so that's all that matters to me, is that my dad is wrong. Yes.
Well, everybody, Harley Quinn Smith and Jason Mewes.
To be or not to be, that's the question.